Hi, hello everyone. Dr. Naveen here from UPSC MEDICO. So we have around, I think, 270 plus aspirants who have registered for this strategy for medical science optional 2024. Just before starting, I need a thumbs up to know whether the audio and video are clear. Okay, just in the chat box. So while session is going on, this time what I'm trying to do is I want to keep it a live question and answer discussion wise. I don't want to play the slides and speak about the strategy and all. So I'm expecting questions from you. So there are two ways of asking questions. One thing, you can use chat box or you can unmute yourself. I have muted you all just for the sake of recording this session. You can unmute yourself and you can ask your question, right? So in the live and Q&A format, if there is anything related to the 6 major points which I wanted to discuss in this session, what is that? One thing is optional dilemma, plan A versus plan B, and also how to score good in medical science optional. What are the common mistakes done by medical science optional aspirants, and also how to tackle the next exam which is coming up along with the UPSC preparation. This is relevant to people our batches from 2019 or below. Okay, so and also what is the major difference between UPSC preparation versus PG preparation, because many people have a plan B of doing NEET PG or next. So how to proceed ahead, I'll be discussing that. And also what is the major crux or essence of this discussion is what should be your strategy. Okay, a game changing strategy for 24-25. So this is how I want to. So now, before going ahead, I want to tell you all the aspirants who are giving your exam in 24-25. See, this exam runs in a cycle of 24 months. It's not 1 year exam. 1 year or 6 months exam are the exams for NEET PG, the PG entrance examinations, which come like if you take INA CET, it comes every 6 months. If you take next NEET PG, or if you take UPSC CMS, it comes every 1 year. This exam, though it happens every year, there is a cycle of 24 months of preparation. How? For example, you're having your prelims in May, right? So you'll be writing probably your what I say, the mains exam after prelims in October. After that, you will be attending your interviews maybe in the month of February, right? So you will be getting results in the May again, May 25. So your results will be in May 25. So don't plan your schedule or strategy just for 12 months. Okay, I had seen many falling prey to this logic of preparing for this exam for 12 months. Hopefully by excessive prelims preparation, they were able to crack prelims, but their preparation is inadequate for mains or optional. So in the process of getting results or interview, they are wasting their valuable 6 to 8 months of period. Then because they couldn't do it, maybe they're missing by 1 mark or 2 marks, they have to start their preparation again. So when they want to start their preparation again, they're left with not many months. So because of this lack of time, what they're doing is the brunt of attack is falling on optional. So they're not able to finish optional preparation per se, optional test series on time. So you have to plan it in 24 months. When I say this, you have to plan it for 24 months. I don't want you to prepare for all the 24 months with optional. So the first 12 months are crucial. The first 12 months are deciding. 12 to 15 months is the time where you revise and where you write lot many tests. Even after that, you have to continue your preparation in the interview phase, because if you're lucky or unlucky, whatever it is, there will be around 20 to 30% of the questions which are related to medicine, though they are not subject related. Because you are a medical professional, they'll definitely ask you questions from medical science. So your preparation time or schedule or planning should be for 24 months. Based on that, you have to decide the first part of your preparation, the first 6 months or 8 months or 12 months or 15 months should be an extensive preparation. Even after giving your medical science optional exam also, you should be able to continue your preparation and revise it, because if something goes wrong, you are ready for the next attempt. So this is how you have to go ahead. So this is one thing I wanted to tell you. And yes, any specific question, you can use the chat box and you can ask me the question about 24 attempts. So for all the 24 students, you have to kickstart your optional preparation right now, because this is the crunch time. right? There are three things that people do in the initial part of their preparation. One very important thing, before starting their preparation itself for UPSC, they'll finish their NCERT books, mainly from 6th standard to 12th standard, but main focus is on 11th and 12th standard NCERT books because they form a basis for general studies. Along with NCERTs, they focus mainly on essay and ethics, which are again static portions. Yes, you need dynamic content and updation in it, but essentially essay and ethics, their core topics, they remain same. Along with that, an optional like a static optional like medical science, which doesn't change much, you have to spend a lot of time for optional in the initial part of preparation. For example, for all the aspirants who are starting for 24-25, if they ask me what is the right time to start medical science optional preparation, what is the right time? So the ideal time is after your prelims, that is in the June period, June. By the time it is October or November, you should be able to finish your first reading. Okay, the first reading in the sense, if you're part of any of the course like combo course or video course, I want you to finish watching your whole videos. Along with that, you have to make some value additions to the notes. Your notes should be ready. After November, or for some students, probably just passed out MBBS students were not so brilliant during their medical days, or people who passed out long back, 3 years or 4 years back, they did their internship, they took a U-turn and they want to pursue UPSC career, and their basics are a bit disturbed. For those people, it might take more time. So for those kind of students, you can stretch up to January, but not beyond that. But what happens if you stretch beyond January? The prelims nowadays is becoming unpredictable. Okay, so when it is unpredictable, even the toppers last year, when you go through their interviews and strategy, they were spending more than the regular amount of time to qualify prelims. That too, the CSAT and the general studies part, mainly the CSAT, because the difficulty level of the paper is increasing year by year, and there is a direct indication from the UPSC board itself that the CSAT paper going to be tough. Even though it is a qualifying exam in nature with 33% marks, people are struggling to do so. And even medical science who lost touch with the mathematics and calculation part, you even need to work on it and start worrying about it. You cannot ignore or neglect it, because for the last 2 years there's a change in the pattern of the paper with the prelims is now tough. You might need to spend more time than usual to qualify prelims. So adjust your strategy according to that. Change your strategy. Start early, probably in the month of January or February. Most of the students are starting it. I think that should be ideal. February, March, April. By the May, the prelims will come. So more time is now dedicated to the prelims. And you should get rid of optional headache before November. Ideal is October. It's okay if you're lagging with the basics, and there are non-MBBS medical students from BMS, BHMS background also. For them, it might take 15-20 days more to finish off the first reading. I think that is how you have to plan. By October, November 23, you should finish off your first preparation, that is finishing of the notes, making value addition, finishing of the video watching. Then during your prelims preparation, I think that should be an ideal time wherein you do your second revision. So what is that second revision phase? Second revision is not watching your videos or reading your notes multiple times. It's only one time reading of the notes, one time watching of bookmarked videos, because there are some topics which are pretty volatile, right? You might need to watch them again, the differential diagnosis part, for understanding, and also the algorithmic approach part. There is an option to bookmark your videos in the UPSC MEDICO. Once you bookmark them, you can just go through the bookmark videos and also the underlined notes. Then you give your subject-wise test. So second phase of revision starts from January. It continues probably till April or March is an ideal. In the 3 months period, January, February, March, every 1 week or every 2 weeks, take up a subject-wise test, finish it off. Read your notes, give your test. Subject-wise tests are designed in such a way you will be challenged with new pattern questions. Video course or notes is designed in such a way you will get to know 99% important PYQs which are syllabus specific. Intentionally and voluntarily, some topics are left out in the video course and notes just to make sure that your first phase of preparation is done in a satisfying manner, not in a complete manner. But on top of that, the more add-ons will come when you start writing your test series. I think in the months of January to March, you can just revise your optional, probably the whole notes of 100 pages of anatomy. To revise, it might take two days of time. 2 days in the sense, even if you spend 4 to 5 hours a day, 10 hours, you can finish off a subject and you can give the test. So that way, every 2 weeks or every 1 week cycle, just brush your medical science optional. You might think that I'm delaying your test series preparation till January, March, but I'm doing it intentionally. The reason is, if you close your medical science optional book by November, to come back and open it in May, in between there are many months. For an optional like medical science, which is volatile, if you don't stay in touch with this optional, during this May to the mains period, you have 100 or 120 days. Now you're lucky. The number of days in between the prelims and the mains exam is increasing. The gap is increasing. During this 120 days, you might find it too difficult to recollect or revise or rememorize, because there is a lot of burden for you to finish off your general study answer writing. When I say general study answer writing, there is a change in trend. Many of the toppers now, they're not doing GS answer writing pre-prelims. They're only making sure that the content and notes, the body, the question, everything is ready. Then they're doing this answer writing during this 100-day crucial period. Many of the toppers, they're openly admitting that I'm not doing the daily answer writing or pre-prelims general study answer writing, because this is the crucial time wherein they're preparing their content. So that way, when you're overburdened by the GS load, general study load, what happens? Indirectly, the effect will be on optional and optional scoring. You may very few students in last 3 years I have observed, they were able to finish all their subject wise tests and grant tests in this 120 days period. So don't postpone your optional test series for those 120 days, which is very tight period. You always end up ignoring optional over general studies during that period. So don't drag it till so long or so late. Try to finish early. That is the ideal time, wherein January to March, many of the students, they write it, the topper like Dr. Srija, Dr. Anshupriya, they have all submitted. Even you take Dr. Anjali Garg, they submitted during January to March period, wherein they're doing the prelims period in between, because prelims is more or less factual, MCQ based preparation, which is very close to our medical science related preparation. So you can open your book at the end of the day when you're tired with your prelims preparation. You can just brush your notes, then you can give your subject wise test. At least finish off the subject wise test. So what should be your strategy for 24-25? If you're starting in June, July, try to finish it off by November. For some people, December, it's fine. Then during January to March period, April you can't do it, because by April 1st, your brain will be overburdened by the prelims mindset. Okay. So January to March is the time where you do subject-wise test. June to July, you do first revision. Subject-wise test will give you second revision. Once you clear your prelims, okay, in the May. So from June, July, August, September, the 3 months or 120 days or 90 days period, this is the time where you do the 4 grant tests, including the live grant test. So this will become your third revision. What will you do for third revision during this 100-day period? You already have your notes, which is underlined, you have bookmarked videos, everything ready. During your second revision, you will be using a different color or different marking so that your notes is even crisp now, even crisp. After that, what will you do? During your third revision, you will just revise this crispier notes. You will give your grant test. These tests, grant test and subject-wise tests, they also give you model answers. You can make some value additions with that. These grant tests are curated to the demand of the exam, and also they contain latest information. Whatever changes happen in this 1 year period, you will get to know the new trend here. Okay, the new pattern of questions. And now, after giving 4 grant tests, after doing 3 revisions, I'm considering this as a first revision, because most of the times the basic understanding of medicine happens in MBBS days itself. Okay, consider your first preparation strategy as revision only. Then second revision, third revision. During that, after giving your mains exam, between mains and optional, you have 5 to 7 days of time. This is the time wherein many of the toppers and even students, they find difficult to revise this static optional. But you are lucky because you are following this strategy. You're lucky because you have already done 3 revisions and your crispier version of notes is ready for this 5 to 7 days. During this 5 to 7 days, you will be focusing on only memory-based stuff. You will be only looking at your model answers, your evaluated answers, topper copies, all India ranker copies. You'll be doing only the basic revision part during this 5 to 7 days. Then you'll be giving your final exam. So this should be your ideal strategy for 24-25. So this is you're starting from July for example, if you're starting this July, so by December you have to finish it. By March you have to finish your subject wise test. You can take a break from March to May. After giving prelims for next 100 days, you have to give your GTs. This is the ideal way of going it. By doing this, you will be able to finish the whole syllabus. That's a major crux point here. There are so many myths about medical science optional. They say that the syllabus is lengthy and huge. Actually, it's not lengthy. It's only 10% of what you need to prepare. Okay, during our MBBS days, we have huge syllabus, but they made it so short. When you look at the syllabus book given by the UPSC, the prescribed syllabus, you will understand that there's not many topics. And also when you look at PYQs, that syllabus is even cut short. So that's the reason, before starting your preparation, please do download the focus guide, which is there in the website, which is free, which contains all the PYQs, and I have arranged them in an integrated manner so that you will understand what are the major organs or systems that you need to focus upon. On top of that, in the UPSC MEDICO YouTube channel, I have already uploaded the syllabus understanding video. Okay, you need to understand syllabus before starting it. This logic or this dictum, it's not only specific for medical science optional. The same dictum also works for your UPSC mains general study preparation also. When you start your UPSC preparation, first you have to understand the syllabus. Second thing is you have to focus on PYQs. Rare is rare for all. Don't worry about rare things. Master the common things. So that's what is very important. So before starting your preparation in July, if you're starting now, your strategy should be, first you go through the free focus guide, understand what are the PYQs, and also go through that video which is there in the UPSC MEDICO YouTube channel about understanding syllabus. Then you'll know what are the key areas or crux areas which you need to focus. On top of that, you can start your strategy. First 3 to 4 months, finish your first revision. Next, revise with test series. Why I'm stressing upon the fact of test series? Not many are writing test series, and it is taking an attack on us because UPSC way of answer writing is different from our board's answer writing. Okay, so it's very important that you start writing answers so early in your preparation so that the headache of optional is gone. And then the third and fourth revisions are to be followed, which I just discussed. So this is the strategy that you need to follow for the 24-25 batch. So I think we're done with the sixth part. Now, based on your questions, I'll go to the remaining parts. Okay, we'll discuss that. Yeah, so Kishu Singh is asking about one important stuff, that is what is next. Next is coming up, because if you are from 2019, okay, let's try to understand this. If you are MBBS student, because there are students from non-MBBS background who don't need to worry about the next and all, but for MBBS students, and also for students from 2019 batch onwards, okay, 2019 batch onwards. Now, there's a lot of speculation about next. Nothing is in the gazette form or bill form. Everything is in the draft form. Everything is in the draft form or in the discussion forums or in the webinars. This is pre-bill stage. Okay, if you are well versed into understanding UPSC general study, polity part, policy making part, you will understand at what step or what stage this next is our NMC bill is in. There are various phases for bill, right? There are chances that once the bill is introduced, it might even go to the standing committee, or it might get direct approval from the president. We don't know what is going to happen. So I don't want to teach you how a bill gets approved in the parliament, right? So you know that basic understanding. So I think you are the better person to understand the current state of NMC or next exam in comparison to a normal MBBS person who is not preparing UPSC. I think it is easy for me to make you understand at what stage we are. Okay, so first and foremost, it is still in the draft stage. Yes, the discussions are going on, and they have announced that yes, the next is going to come from 2019 batch, but the gazette is not yet released. Okay, the bill is not yet released. Now, if we assume that 2019 is the first batch which is going to write the next exam, anyone from 2019 onwards can ignore this discussion because you're out of this. You don't need to worry about this at all. Okay, you will be giving your theory exams. If it is not done yet, you will be entering your internship. By the time you attend your interview, for example, your interview is in somewhere in, let's say this time they dragged it so far, like the interviews were on till the April, right? April. So that's the reason. If you're, let's say your interview is in February 24, if your interview is in February 2024, now by the time you write your interview, by the time you attend your interview, you need your internship completion certificate ready with you. Okay, you need your internship completion certificate ready with you. So because you're in internship now, you can happily go ahead and give prelims of May 24, because by the time your interview will come, it will be February 25. Okay, February or January 25. So I think by that time your internship should be over. If you are an intern now, okay, you can happily go ahead. So 2018 are batches beneath this. You don't need to worry about next. Let's come to the 2019 onwards. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and the Health Minister recently has announced an interesting thing, right? If you are final year student, fourth year student, you will give your theory exams. You will have to qualify these theory exams. You will give your practical exams in the final year. You will give your practical exams. On top of that, you also have to write an MCQ exam. This MCQ exam is next step 1. Okay. So they're still there. For example, if you're from Hyderabad, Telangana, the college university will conduct your theory and practical exams in a regular basis. You have to qualify that also. On top of that, you will be giving your next one exam in 2019. That means you'll be giving exam in 2020. Okay, in 2020. If you're from 2020 batch, you will be giving your exam in 2021. The next year, 2024, 2025. Okay, you along with your final year exams, theory and practicals, you will give your next one exam for sure. Now, what to do? What to do in the sense, you also need to practice MCQs. Before 2019 batch, people who can escape from next exam, they don't need to practice any MCQs. They can happily go ahead and practice theory-based preparation for medical science optional. But if you are from 2019 onwards, it is very important for you to get in touch with MCQ based, because this is a licensing exam. This is not an MBBS qualifying exam. This is a licensing exam, practicing exam, and also merit exam based on the score of which you will get your PGC. That's it. This next one score has no way related to the UPSC exams. UPSC will only look at your theory marks, practical marks, your marks memo. They might also see your next scores, but it's still not on the paper, right? So you don't need to worry about that. Even now, students who are attending their interviews, UPSC board, while conducting interview, is least bothered about you are a gold medalist or only scored 55%. They're least bothered about your graduation marks. They want to know about your personality, your honesty. So the marks, that doesn't make any difference. But 2019 batch who are going to write their exam, they have to write their theory and practical. Next is only a replacement of NEET PG. This is the statement given by Health Minister. You will have your theory board exams and practical exams. On top of that, you will write next one during your final year itself. And after a year of internship, you will do your next 2. So this will be like USMLE step 1. This will be like USMLE step 2 CS exam. Okay, clinical skills, not clinical knowledge, clinical skill exam, which is conducted in hospitals. These 2 are licensing exams, so that you can have MBBS license and practice in India. These are licensing exams. These are not, yes, they're qualifying too, but again, you have to qualify your theory and practicals also, which were conducted in the final. And based on next one score, you will also get your NEET PG seat or PG seat. Let's say NEET is not there, next PG. So you'll get your seat based on step 1 score. So you have to step up and give your exam next one with utmost sincerity. If you are aiming for a PG seat also, there comes plan B. If you don't want to do PG at all, you don't have to worry about the exam at all, because whatever theory knowledge you have, that will help you in qualifying the next exam. This is statement not given by me. This is the statement given by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, you don't need to worry about the qualifying nature of the exam. It will be very easy. When you open their curriculum and you see, they said 60 to 70% of the questions are must know. Must know in the sense from the basic topics. The remaining 10 to 20%, okay to know. Just okay to know. If you have that knowledge, it's okay. The remaining 10% of may or may not know. That means these are the toughest things. These 10% of the questions, they decide your merit or seat in PG. But remaining 60 to 70%, if you can prepare UPSC syllabus with utmost sincerity, you will definitely clear your next exam. You don't have to worry about it at all. Okay, so qualifying will be easy. They'll make it easy because India is already short of doctors. India is only producing 50,000 doctors per year. So they need more doctors. They'll qualify you. You don't. But if you want merit, that too for getting a good clinical PG seat, which most of the UPSC aspirants are least bothered about, then you don't have to worry about next PG at all. So the only thing that is doing next is allowing you to do your internship with sincerity. Otherwise, what happens now, you see most of the 2018 batch onwards people, they go to internship, but they open their MCQ books, PG books. Instead of practicing or instead of doing the clinics, they only read for PG, they get a good seat. Then after getting into clinical PG, then they are struggling. The HODs might have noticed it, that they're coming up with least clinical knowledge or clinical skills. So PG is not the place where you learn all these things. PG is the place where you apply all these clinical cells on the patient live, right? So that is the only replacement. So NEET PG is only replacing, next is only replacing NEET PG. You still have to give your theory exams and practical exams, which are a usual routine. Okay. So when you do your theory preparation, that itself also will give you an edge into the UPSC way of answer writing. You still will be in touch with that. Okay. So that's what I wanted to tell about the next part. Yeah. Any specific questions about next? Yeah. So what are the sources available for medical science optional? This is the question by Lokesh. And should we go through textbooks we use during MBBS? So this question, I think I want to put it on common mistakes done by aspirants. Okay. Now, don't take me wrong. I am from a coaching institute. Okay. Dr. Naveen, who is academic director of UPSC MEDICO. If you ask me, what is the best resource for medical science optional? I'll say UPSC MEDICO is the best resource. Okay, I have my own answers, but I don't want to start my answer like this. Let's assume that you're starting your preparation on your own. Many of the aspirants, I had seen many of the students calling me after 1 year, 2 years, after realizing the fact that it is taking too long to finish off medical science optional. Sir, what is the reason? The reason is you lack support. You need guidance. You need mentorship. You need ready-made resources so that you can work upon them. You think that the PG preparation which you're doing are the foundation courses for PG which you have joined. You think that they're going to help. But at the end, UPSC journey or UPSC preparation is altogether a different way of preparation in comparison to the PG preparation. So these two things, PG prep versus UPSC prep, differences and how to adapt, and what are the common mistakes which are done by aspirants, let's discuss along with this question. Let's see, there are some more questions have come up. Along with that, there was a question from, yes, who is that? Let me look at the chat box. Yeah. Medical science optional started in which year? I got papers from 22 years from UPSC website. Okay, and major change in syllabus happened in 2011. Okay, you don't need to go any question beyond 2011, like 2010, 2009. They're obsolete now. Major change in syllabus happened in 2011. Before that, the whole MBBS syllabus was there in the exam, but from 2011 onwards is the relevant one which you need to consider. So how to manage time for preparation since internship is hectic in my college? See, that's what is very important. If you're planning for UPSC, if you have made up a decision to take UPSC as your career option, in internship, it will be difficult. But if you do it before your internship, maybe I have many students now starting their preparation from 3rd MBBS onwards or 4th MBBS onwards. They have enough time to manage at least medical science. But if you're starting your preparation as a whole during your internship, then it's going to be hectic, because if you're from a government medical college and doing your internship, even finding time to prepare for PG itself is becoming tougher for you, right? So you have to plan early, usual. But people have done it before. It's not that immediately after internship you take Dr. Aditya this time, okay? You take Dr. Akshita last year, okay? They have all done it during their internship days. Okay, they could find time. So where there is a will, there is a way. At the end of the day, it is up to you how you're going to manage your time. But you take Dr. Srija, All India Rank 20, who did her major preparation during her internship. So when she used to go to postings, she used to carry books related to the medical science syllabus. For example, if you're going for general medicine posting, you have a list of 20 or 25 topics. Go and see a case of coronary artery disease or MI in your ward. Go and see a case of nephrotic syndrome in your ward. But in general, the MI based pulmonary embolism, pleural effusion. If you go to a radiology posting, try to look at all the X-rays which is there in the syllabus. Make use of your internship period, wherein you see actually the cases relevant to the UPSC medical science optional. Okay, that way I think you can save a lot of time. We were discussing about how to manage time efficiently during your internship days. I have given you examples of people who have done it before. Okay, so you don't need to get disheartened by the fact that you're not getting enough time during your internship days. Where there is a will, there is a way. So how to go ahead during your postings itself, carry the syllabus book, whatever the clinical case is there. For example, you have cirrhosis of liver, which is very important for exam point of view. If you are in general medicine posting, check the patient, do some clinical signs and symptoms, follow the management algorithm. Okay, try to learn it there and then itself. Okay, gain more clinical knowledge during the days. Go to family planning way. You have seen many questions from IUD, contraceptive pills, the ways it is done, right? So just focus on that. Make use of your internship days, which is very close or which is very close to your clinical skills phase, right? So develop that clinical skills, finish off the syllabus there in the posting itself, so that you don't need to worry about medical science as a separate entity. So that's how you have to spare time. For general studies, again, after the postings, in most of the government hospitals, postings will be done by 1:30 in the afternoon, unless you have an extra posting or post OT post OP postings or night duty postings. Otherwise, you'll be free from the afternoon. So during afternoon to evening time, you can focus more on the general studies. And people have done it along with their internship. There are live examples who have scored in top 100. So it can be done. So just focus on that. Along with static content, this question is from Dr. Purnashree. Along with static content, whether current affairs has to be covered? If yes, then how much percentage importance should we give to that current affairs? See, Dr. Purna, if you're talking about current affairs related to medical science optional, you don't have to worry about anything which is current affair related. So what is current affair related in medical science optional? One major area where developments are happening are management of the chronic diseases, that too the national health guidelines, right? We have vector-borne disease control program, wherein government is focusing to eliminate Kala Azar in the next year. Similarly, we are focusing on nutritional health programs. We are focusing to eliminate TB, end TB by 2025. These are the three major zones or areas where government is working very hard. If there is any development in that segment, so those kind of questions, they come in PSM part. Apart from that, there are major developments with regards to diabetes or hypertension. New drugs have coming up. FDA is approving new drugs. Apart from that, nothing much changes in paper one. You take anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, no major developments. Pathology, pharmacology, new drugs, but you don't have to worry about that, because when you look at pharmacology PYQs, most questions are pretty basic. Microbiology wise, infectious diseases wise, yes, it's evolving, but there are not many major changes, but questions are more related to sample collection, sample processing, and serological tests. So there will be some developments which, by going through the major new edition textbooks, you will be able to cover them. Forensic medicine, nothing much except the DNA fingerprinting part. And I had seen new questions from forensic medicine, like drug abuse related questions are coming up. Any new act, for example, DNA forensic fingerprinting act, okay, DNA bill, they have asked a question on that. So these kind of questions might come, but there's no recent development apart from MTP Amendment Act, which was asked recently. There's no major change. So what we're doing with UPSC MEDICO is, any new major update, we're posting it in the article section of UPSC blog, and any major update related to medicine and all, we're updating it in the notes. So when you enroll into UPSC MEDICO, if you enroll today, you will get updated notes for today. Throughout the valid period of your course, if anything changes regards to medicine, we'll cover them for you, because as a UPSC aspirant, a lot of time goes into value addition of your current affair related GS part, because you have to read newspaper and gather a lot of information. at the same pace, you cannot continue the same while going to different journals by buying new edition of Harrison. For a doctor, it is difficult during their UPSC preparation days to search into all these things. So if you're making your job easy, you will get your updated notes, you will get new handouts. If anything changes, you will be notified in the groups. So you don't have to worry about medical science. So what percent of this training? Yes, 4 to 5 marks or 10 marks will definitely change. You can happily go ahead and ignore them. But again, I'm not a fan of telling my students to ignore the facts or changes, because even if it is 2 marks, that will decide your fate. You might end up becoming an IPS if you wanted an IAS, or you might end up being not even in the list just by missing those 5 marks or 10 marks. For example, if I ask about national immunization schedule, not many are aware of the fact that the third dose of IPV is included in the January 23. Third dose of IPV is included in the national immunization schedule. But if you give old answer, if the examiner wants to know whether you are up with it or not, he might. So there are subtle changes, but for that, for just an aspirant to keep in touch, it's become difficult. There comes the role of UPSC MEDICO and Dr. Naveen. We are taking care of that. We are including them in the test series. Whatever major thing happens, we are posting in the blog section of UPSC MEDICO website, the article section, what are major changes happening. And on top of that, again, yes, you don't have to be worried about the changes, because if you're worried about the current affairs, you are not at all a UPSC aspirant, because day in and day out, you do that. You get bombarded with these kind of changes, and you have to be ready for all the stresses in life, right? So you don't have to worry about current affairs much. Yeah. Sir, is it possible to, this is question from Harsh. Sir, is it possible to FIR, okay, CMS along with MS, preparation of CMS along with medical science optional? If then, what is the best approach? Now, there was an interesting question last year in the UPSC CMS 2022 exam. There was this question on composition of ORS. Okay, composition of ORS. Let me admit very frankly, we did discuss pediatric diarrhea in detail. I have explained plan A, plan B, plan C, and also the management of diarrhea and all. But we were never focusing more on the composition of ORS, which is more of Viva kind of question during our MBBS. But suddenly the question has popped up in both the sections. UPSC CMS 2022 paper, what is the composition of ORS, normal ORS or WHO ORS, they asked. And similar question, what is the composition of ORS, how to prepare it and all, they asked it for 15 marks in UPSC medical science optional exam. The same way, there are some health programs which are commonly repeated. In the same way, there will be more questions on coronary artery diseases in CMS, pulmonary embolism in CMS, bronchial asthma in CMS. You just open the paper and see. In pediatrics, they ask a lot of questions on developmental milestones. They ask a lot of questions related to the diarrhea, acute respiratory insufficiency protocol, IMNSA guideline based approach. Yes, the syllabus of medical science optional and combined medical service, they collide with each other. Okay, there's a lot of similarities. I can't say a general statement that if you prepare for MS optional, you will master combined medical services. What I would like to say is medical science optional preparation will definitely give you edge in combined medical service exam. On top of medical science optional preparation, you have to prepare for PYQs or previous year questions. Okay, so medical science optional topics, if you perfect them, along with that, if you go and watch, if you go and solve previous year questions of UPSC CMS, I think this is more or less enough for you, okay, to score good in combined medical service exam. There are a lot many questions which are similar in CMS. So when I started this workshop long back in 2018 year, first workshop of UPSC MEDICO, I recommended or requested students to solve previous year questions of CMS so that they'll get an idea what are the current topics which are going to come even in medical science optional. That too mainly in the PSM part. So don't ignore that. For example, they asked Vande Mataram scheme in the 2022 paper. Vande Mataram scheme question has come in 2022 prelims exam of UPSC. If you have written that, you will know that. So there are similarities because UPSC board is same. The exam is different. CMS, medical science prelims, the board is same. So that will definitely help you. And this year, there are 2 core PSM related questions in the 23 prelims. 2 core PSM related questions. That National Anemia Mukt Bharat strategy was there, right? So you have to have basic knowledge of CMS, which helps you in medical science optional and also prelims part. And also, if you have medical science optional preparation, it also helps your combined medical service exam. Okay, hope this answers your question, Harsh. Yeah, let's go to the next question. Will there be changes in model of UPSC exam in 2025? Yes, Priyanka. See, the model of the exam, the basic pattern structure will never change. They haven't changed it for long. There's no major change. But the way of asking questions, for example, CSAT was never so tough. But last 2 years, they have hinted that they want to eliminate most of the competition in CSAT itself. So this is the change. So the pattern or model of the exam of UPSC will never change because people won't allow it. There will be a lot of protests because people are preparing for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But definitely the way of asking questions, the weightage, bouncer questions will come. Optional will be becoming more and more tougher. They will be expecting PG level of optional preparation because more and more doctors are now writing it. But the basic structure pattern will remain same. Okay, unless there is, see, I can't predict the future, but government, any government related exam or any government related thing, there won't be any sudden change. They'll give time, okay, for us to adapt. It's not like next. Yeah. So what about, this question is from Karan. Yes, Karan. What about medical rural services bond? Would it get forfeited once we get selected for UPSC exam? See, this same question I asked Dr. Kiranmai, who is in the services for last 3 years. She is in Danix, okay, Danix. And after that, she is now IAS officer, right? She got rank, All India rank 55 last year. I asked her the same question, like about rural bond, service bond and all. See, when you get into your medicine, you're requested to do a 3-year bond or a 5-year bond or a 1-year bond, right? Depending upon which state or which area you are. Now, once you get into UPSC, I think you're getting into a different service, okay? But nowhere in the service bond it is mentioned that if you are moving to any other government service, you are forfeited from doing this service. Now, what you have to do? Recently, I had this discussion with one of the students. There is some penalty that you need to pay to break the bond. Okay, there is some penalty. In some states, it is 1 lakh. In some states, it is 5 lakhs. If you have influence without paying penalty, also you can get your certificates, right? So you have to break the bond, you have to break the penalty, and then go and join there. Okay, there is no special allowance as such. Okay, it's not mentioned anywhere in the service bond. Yes, you have to pay the penalty and break the bond. Yeah, let's go to this question is from Rishikesh. Rishikesh is asking, sir, what about the graduated students who have not cleared PG entrance as of now? What will be their status for next? Yes. Rishikesh, this is one important thing that you need to understand. For 2024, you don't have to worry because 2024 it will be NEET PG again. Okay, you can appear for that like usual. In 2025, okay, in 2025, probably in 2025, in place of NEET PG, you have to write that next exam, which is again merit exam. You have to score good there. So based on that score itself, you have to apply for the medical colleges or counseling. So instead of writing NEET PG exam for 3 hours for 200 marks, you will be writing a 3-day exam. And we don't know when it will happen. Will it happen in 2025 or 2026? Or the government colleges in the India were able to adapt this change, because for some students, the medicine is ending in March. For some students, it is extending till August. Okay. Now, the whole system is in a phase wherein they want to start on a specific day for all medical colleges and end their graduation on a specific day for all medical colleges. So once this timeline is settled, any student who is writing PG entrance exam, he will write next step 1 in place of the NEET exam, because he is already qualified. He already have a doctor certificate. Qualification means practice certificate. To get practice certificate, they have to write next 1 and next 2 for batches from 2019 onwards. For you who have already qualified, who already have a license with Indian Medical Association, IMA. So you don't have to worry about the qualifying. You can apply for merit. You can write next 1 in place of the NEET PG, and you can, based on that marks, you can apply for the residency. So this is what happens even for USMLE. If you understand the structure of USMLE, you won't have any dilemma. This is as easy as USMLE. Yes. Yeah. Shiv Bagal. Sir, some management algorithms like cancers are quite volatile. How to tackle it? See, yes, most of the toppers, they are following algorithmic based approach for managements. Okay, so even our UPSC Medico notes contains and also model answers, there will be a lot of algorithms wherein, see, you might feel that they are volatile. In general, the management itself is volatile if you write it in a point wise fashion. Algorithm is a way wherein the brain neural network will arrange in such a way that you will be able to remember it more. For memorization, algorithms are best way to go. Even if you think that the management algorithms are volatile, you need to practice them multiple times. Okay, a real-time patient experience is always good for longer memory, but for UPSC aspirants, most of the times we limit ourselves to the room, study rooms, and prepare most of the medicine in the rooms itself. For you, yes, it will be difficult to handle the memory part. So that's where comes the active recall method. Okay, so you have to imagine a clinical scenario. For example, today, if you're doing a session or a memory session or recall session, you have to sit tight and think about cancer cervix. For management of cancer service, you have to close your eyes and think of all the possible options. Then you have to structure an algorithm in the brain. You have to practice this active recall method that works. So CA cervix, you have to think about the FIGO 2018 classification, whether it is stage 1A or stage 1B or stage 2A or stage 2B. If it is stage 1A, it is conization. What is stage 1A? Then you have to think whether it is less than 2 mm or more than 2 to 5 mm. Then you have to do an active recall method. Daily 2 or 3 clinical scenarios, just pick them up, do an active recall method, practice it in the paper. So the same paper, try to look once or twice just before giving your subject wise test or once before your mains exam. So that way, even if you can recollect 70 to 80%, it would be sufficient. So active recall method of algorithms will definitely help you. So practice always makes you perfect. Yes, Priyanka. Will notes alone will be provided separately by UPSC Medico, sir? See, this is a common question which many of the students also messages me. See, let me tell you very frankly. If you want notes, you have Dr. Parikshit sir notes. Okay, in the market. I had seen many of the students buying it and then they are getting disheartened. I had seen people who are also buying some reputed institute notes. I can't take its name. They're also disheartened. See, what is the point here? You can't read a notes which is 7-year-old or 8-year-old. You can't read a notes which is just a copy paste from the textbooks, and you can't read a notes which is just a synopsis. My notes will become your notes only when I teach you why this image is important, why this flowchart is important, why this algorithm is important. Otherwise, you have standard textbooks available with you to go ahead. So that's the real sense. Notes is not provided as a single entity because notes is constantly updated. Notes is up to date. The yesterday notes will not be the same notes today because as I get new questions, new updates, I'll be updating it and I'll be giving it in a soft copy PDF format. I'll also discuss that, why this point is here. If, for example, if I'm discussing cirrhosis of the liver, I'll also discuss what is portal hypertension, what will you do when a patient comes, what is the algorithm, why this image is written like this, what is this thing taken Blake tube, what is its tubes. When I discuss only this. So the biggest secret success for any UPSC exam is having your own notes. But if you start preparing your own notes, you will end up losing more time than usual. My notes will become your notes only when I teach you. Then it becomes crisp, concise, revisable. Okay, that's the essence, Priyanka. So notes as a sole entity is not available for your benefit. Okay, for your benefit. Sir, how to manage preparation for PG while studying general studies and medical science optional? How not to lose touch with PG prep because UPSC is unpredictable. Definitely. We'll discuss this in point 5. And especially how to limit our words in medical science optional. It's very important. Answer writing. See, answer writing practice. There is a 2-hour detailed discussion video. What are the tips to for answer writing of medical science? It is uploaded in the test series section of UPSC Medico course. Okay, test series. If you're a part of the test series, I did a detailed 2-hour discussion. This 2-hour discussion contains my 6 years of experience of evaluating papers, looking at the topper copies, what should be included, what not to be included. This video will give you an entire insights into that. If you don't have an optional dilemma, mark my word, you're not a UPSC aspirant because every year there is one optional which was trending. Okay, for example, you take Dr. Srija's interview, All India rank 20, okay, from medical science optional in 21. Okay, you take Dr. Anshupriya, All India rank 16. Dr. Diksha Joshi, All India rank 19. In 2 years, 2021 and 2022, we got doctors in the top 20. Now this year, we got rank 70 and rank 79. Every year, there are doctors in the top 100, but scores wise, this year, knowingly or unknowingly, optional took a brunt of attack. But there will be one optional which was trending. For example, this time anthropology came into trending. But during 2021, anthropology took a major blow. Almost 90 to 100 students shifted from anthropology to medical science. Okay, it's a fact. Okay, with experience, I'm telling many students, they call me saying that, sir, it's difficult to understand anthropology. The reason being, anthropology is only 10% of science, 90% sociology. There's a lot of things to remember. There's a lot of things to make value additions. And I need to be more competitive to score high, because if optional medical science, if 100 students are writing it, anthropology 2500 plus students are writing it. So to get that 300 plus in anthropology, it may end up taking more than 30% of your preparation time. And also syllabus wise, it's not that easy anthropology wise. Okay, as I said, there are so many pros for anthropology, okay, cons, but there are also good advantages of anthropology. For example, there are students who are scoring good with anthropology, okay, they're finding it easy. So at the end of the day, interest is the factor which will help you in deciding which optional to choose. Okay, if I come on a platform with a reputation of 6 years of training in medical science optional, with training almost 50 plus ranks in the last 6 years. This year, we got 19 doctors in the medical science optional who cleared CSE exam. I could see medical science as a very good optional to choose, but we are committing lot many mistakes, okay, as medical science aspirants. Let's look at the common mistakes which are done by aspirants. First and foremost, we have this optional dilemma, whether to go for medical science optional or not. By the time we realize that our cup of tea is medical science for most of the doctors, there are doctors, like mostly the dental doctors, BDS doctors, who are cracking it with anthropology. It's okay, it's understandable, because for BDS doctors, there's less clinical exposure apart from the dental emergencies and all. Oral body emergencies, they have a little less exposure, so they opt to choose it, the anthropology part. But for a doctor, for an MBBS doctor, your graduation subject is already medical science. You have done medical science preparation for 5.5 years. Now with next and next two, you should continue your medical science preparation irrespective of your UPSC dream. You should master it because it is qualifying exam in nature. So you have your subject with you. On top of that, you need little more guidance, mentorship, support, resources, so that you score good. Now to gain that trust itself for a UPSC MEDICO, it took us 4 years now. I think this is our first batch which is going to write the combo course batch, which is going to write mains this year. Till then, we were used to do some crash courses, plan a rare test series submissions and all. People used to do test series, then they have to score. But a full-time batch is on the way. A full-time resources, a full-time coaching is in the process. Now you have mentorship, resources. So now as a checklist, which optional to choose, first and foremost, which decides your fate is interest in optional. Okay, you can't just go by trending. If something is trending, it might or might not work for you. But if something is interesting, it will always work for you. Okay, 9 out of 10 times students, they call me and they say, sir, it's okay, I might score good in anthropology, but it is taking so much of time. I'm losing interest. It's purely memory based. There's no science. There's no concept. It's completely sociology. I need to update my answers. All these things are not there with medical science. Medical science is purely static. If you know it, you know it. If you don't know it, you don't know it. There's no major updates or upgrades. It's okay, in a 24 months of period, you won't get even 5 to 10 months of change. If you have prior knowledge, you can work upon it. But problem with our aspirants is, first and foremost, they have to believe in themselves that medical science is going to help them. For example, you're going to a war. You're going to a war. You have pen, or you have a knife, or you have a gun, whatever it is. When the war has already started for 2024, instead of fighting a war, what most of the aspirants are doing is they're busy shaping or sharpening their own weapons, or creating their own weapons altogether.
Sharpening is good. Like you can sit, you can brush your medical science concepts, you can practice some images, you can practice some algorithms, you can practice some flowcharts and tables, you can work on previous year questions so that your optional is ready. Instead of doing that, we are all together building a new weapon to fight the old war. So this building optional, getting into the basics of new optional itself is killing a lot of time for doctors. There are some doctors who are doing it. I don't want to discourage them, because at the end of the day, if you have interest in optional, not only medical science, any optional like philosophy, anthropology, sociology, you can definitely go there. Okay, I'm not here to stop you, but only thing is, the commonly faced difficulties by most of the medical science aspirants is when they go to another optional, they're losing interest. So when there is no interest, you have done it for 5.5 6 years altogether, to forget this knowledge and to gain new knowledge, it will be tough. And a doctor is a doctor for always. Like if you have a plan B of going into NEET PG, if you leave your optional, I think you are neither a doctor nor an administrator for those 2 to 3 years, and it's going to be very difficult. If you can handle that, it's okay. If you can't handle that, better to deal with the devil, okay, keep it very close to your heart, start loving it, start taking care of it, start preparing for it. Because you take Dr. Aditya, all India rank 17, he was so good at general studies and he couldn't find time for medical science optional, and it costed him. He couldn't score much. Now you cannot take his marks as a criteria that medical science itself is a poor thing. You take Dr. Anjali Garg, she herself realized that from her previous attempt, she could improve 45 marks just by practicing tests. Okay, now optional came to her rescue. There are two cases. Which one to choose? For example, you are a philosopher, you are a blogger, you are a creative person, you are empathetic, you know about the society, you are fluent, you have a lot of communication skills, you are a blog writer, you can even write an editorial column. If you're that kind of a person, you don't have to worry about medical science, because anyway you're going to do good with UPSC. But 99% of the times doctors are not ethical. Don't take me wrong, but you know the Indian medical system. You can't be a doctor if you're too ethical. It's very tough to write ethical answers. It's very tough to build creative philosophy or poetry, right? We are factual people, conceptual people, basic people. We understand A to Z. Okay. Your strength is medical science. If you leave that, it might cost you the whole purpose of UPSC. You might end up on the losing side. So many of the students are losing interest. So for that sake, I recommend you, for that sake, I can only suggest you. I can't force you to take medical science optional, but with whatever 4 years of knowledge I have, it's better to go with the devil, because chances of getting successful in this exam are very tiny. 99 times you end up on the losing side. At least if you're a medical science aspirant, you have that medical knowledge. This medical knowledge will definitely help you in PG entrance exam. Don't take me wrong. It will not give you rank 1 or rank 10 or rank 100, but it will definitely give you rank 1000, because the topics are like that. There won't be any exam without a question on brachial plexus. Is it a PG exam or UPSC exam? There won't be any question without any exam without a question on myocardial infarction. Do you think that will there be any exam without a question on IUD or OC pills contraindications? They're common dictum topics. They're common for every exam. If you can master that, definitely you will perform well in next exam. You can at least get close to clinical or definitely get a non-clinical exam with that background knowledge. So optional dilemma is there with every doctor, but my suggestion is choose that optional which you are interested in. For 2024, you should never change your optional to anything else. Stick to medical science. The reason being, it might take 2 years for you to learn new optional altogether, because understanding basics, understanding the demand of the exam itself will take a long. If it is medical science, it is too easy. And one more thing, common mistake is with optional dilemma and all, you end up not preparing well for medical science altogether. So start early. Finish off your test just before prelims or pre-prelims, so that your mind is free during post-prelims phase. Okay, so this is very important. And your plan B, if you have a plan B of any PG entrance exam or UPSC CMS, stick to medical science. optional. Or if you have a plan B of practicing in as a DMO or any district medical officer, there are a lot of government posts and all for doctors. If you want to do that also, sticking to medical science will definitely help you. Preparing UPSC medical science optional syllabus will definitely help you. Mark my word, because I have seen the topics from A to Z. They are all high yield topics. Even now, state PCS exams. Okay, state PCS exams are also including medical science as their optional. Haryana Civil Service exam, people scored very well. 7 doctors got selected into the Group A post. Okay, so keeping better to deal with the devil, you know, wherever there is interest, choose that optional. That will definitely work for you. And if your plan B is any PG entrance examination, I think optional should be medical science. Now, with that thing, I think we're done with the optional dilemma, plan A versus plan B. What are the common mistakes committed by aspirants? Common mistake is even if there is guidance and all, you're hesitant to take it. Okay, you have UPSC MEDICO. We give you all the right resources. Just go ahead, grab them, put them on the table. The war has already started. Make use of resources. Now, don't try to build resource. Okay, it takes a lot of time. Take care of the or catch hold of the available resources. Start preparing as soon as you can. Okay, because the war has already started. Don't commit that mistake of sitting and preparing your own weapons. Okay, take a weapon, trust the weapon, that trust medical science, that it should gonna help you. Just practice it, love it, revise it. Definitely it comes handy. No, PG prep versus UPSC prep. I had seen few students messaging me even in YouTube under the comment section. They're asking me, sir, I have subscription of some course like foundation course, some plan A, plan B, plan C of some institute. Now, will it help my UPSC prep? See, if I say it won't help, I'm not a good doctor. Anything, any book, any teaching, any video will help you. Only difference is, will you be able to understand the essence of this discussion? For example, if I discuss cirrhosis of liver, I'll focus mainly on those areas which UPSC is asking. If a PG teacher discusses cirrhosis of liver, he will not give you a 20-mark content. He will not give you an image of fibrosis and nodular formation of cirrhosis of liver. He will not give you that histopathological image. He will not give you a flowchart or algorithm of management. He'll only tell you what is the most common complication associated with liver of cirrhosis. This is the question which was asked 10 times. Please remember this. Look at this spotter. This is Sengstake and Blake Merker tube. This can be asked in the exam. So the way the subject is exam specific. Okay. So when you are on a F1 track, okay, when you are on F1 track, Ferrari should work for you, not ambassador, right? So what is the track or what is the nature of the exam? What is the demand of the exam? Based on that, your coaching should be, your resources should be. Okay, you cannot make use of PG prep, which is 100% for a 10% UPSC preparation. I'm not saying that it is not useful. I'm only saying that it is least useful based on the pattern or approach of the teaching. Okay, now you can't open your PG synopsis book and start writing answers for UPSC exam, because UPSC requires bulkness, weightage. You have to answer as per weightage of the question. If the cirrhosis of liver or portal hypertension comes, you should have a 20-mark content with you. That 4 or 5 keywords will not help you. You need content. You also need the pattern of the paper, how to approach, what are all the things which are included in management. And most of the time, we are not preventive doctors with regards to PG preparation. PG preparation will only focus on curative aspects, but UPSC preparation focuses mainly on preventive aspects. For example, if you're writing an answer for diabetes, if there's a patient with Gabrahat or palpitations, you diagnosed him to be a myocardial infarction, your answer is incomplete if you miss on follow-up aspect. But none of the PG prep will tell you the follow-up. Sleep well, exercise, diet, what diet to be taken. Is there any vaccines available for any disease for prevention? Is there any national health program for prevention? You have to mention all those things. So UPSC preparation is definitely different from PG preparation, and all our content is designed keeping in mind UPSC way of demand of the paper, and also preventive medicine works here, not curative medicine or specialty medicine. UPSC requires you to be a servant, civil servant. So you need to have that preventive approach, health education based approach. That's why questions are most of the times preventive. If there is pediatrics and obstetrics, They're not asking core pediatric or obstetric questions. They're asking you IMNCA guideline based management of pediatric scenario, which is mainly preventive. They're asking you social obstetrics, not a curative or clinical obstetrics. So that is a basic difference between PG prep versus UPSC prep. And again, answer writing will become difficult if you only by heart or memorize key synopsis, which is given in the PG literature. So better to choose UPSC way of preparation. And there was one student who was asking what books to read. See, it's not the time to open standard books, latest editions, and work on them. But if you are interested in that, I have recorded a video of what books to read in the UPSC MEDICO YouTube channel. You can go and check that. I have given you a list of books, because UPSC will not just look at one book and give a question. For example, if you take obstetrics itself, you will find some questions in Datta, answers. For some questions, you'll find answers in Mudaliar. For some questions, you'll find answers in Williams obstetrics. Right? But most of the times, PSM is a gold standard for the PARC is gold standard for PSM. OPGAI is gold standard for pediatrics. But the answer writing of pediatrics, you can't take OPGAI based literature, because Nelson's will give you more insights, more details on protein energy malnutrition management. And similarly, for pediatrics part of vaccination and all, you have to refer PSM again. So there are multiple integrations which are involved. All those things I did discuss them in detail in the video which is posted in UPSC MEDICO YouTube channel on what books to read. Okay, just go through that video, you will definitely understand it. Now I think we are done with the PG prep, UPSC prep, and differences and how to adapt, and optional dilemma, plan A versus plan B. What are the common mistakes which we commit, and how to tackle next along with UPSC? Yes, one of the student asked me, if I'm parallelly preparing for NEET PG, how to handle medical science preparation and general studies all together, because this is becoming tough. But if you can't do that, okay, so now very important thing I want to tell you, doctor. First, if you have a plan A, is it UPSC or PG? UPSC or PG? Or in the UPSC, if it is medical science optional or CMS, medical science optional or CMS. Your plan B should always help your plan A. First, you have to fix whether you want to be a compulsory or mandatory administrator, or first you want to get into PG, because I have students who first clear NEET PG, who get a rank, they choose non-clinical seat or PSM seat or pharmacology PG or pathology PG. Once they're settled in their life, then they start their UPSC preparation. Now you have to decide whether your plan A is a PG seat or your plan A is a UPSC seat. If your plan A is a PG seat, you have to prepare for PG in a full-blown manner to get a good rank. Okay. If your plan A is UPSC, if you fail your UPSC, at least you should be able to get a close clinical or anesthesia or orthopedic seat or a non-clinical seat. So you have to prepare in such a manner. Focus more on plan A, spend more time on plan A. You can ignore plan B, but not vice versa. If you want to become an administrator, if you want to 100% become an administrator, I had seen people leaving their plan B altogether. They're just dedicated to plan A. But if you are optimistic, if you have financial liabilities, if you have family commitments, you can't just risk in a full-blown manner. In that scenario, keep your plan B alive by parallelly preparing for it. Keep in touch with it, but don't spend too much time on plan B. Your plan B should never cost your plan A. Your plan A should be your priority. Once you're done with your medical science optional preparation, then only get into NEET PG preparation. But leaving this, only preparing for PG, that itself indicates that you intend to become more of a doctor than an administrator. And you have to learn this art of balance. If you can't learn this art of balance, you're out of the race. Okay. There's no ready-made yes or no answer for this. This is a hypothetical question. Can I do it or can I not do it? If you can do it, you will be a success story for others. Okay. If you can manage both, okay, you will be a very good success story which should be told to others. Okay. For example, we have Dr. Pragati. Okay. She scored all India rank around 600. She's a radiologist. By doing a clinical radiology, she cracked a seat in UPSC while doing the clinical. So just look at the dedication. She has become a success story. So that wise, if you can manage both, you will become a success story. And how to tackle next along with UPSC preparation? Yes, next, yes, it's a qualifying exam in nature. You don't have to worry about much unless we get to see the first mock test, which is happening in a couple of months. We'll have next section on that. But for any UPSC aspirant who is looking to for the upcoming next exam, continue your same strategy, because the exam pattern might change, but concept and content are the same. If you have strong basics, you can manage it. You don't have to worry about it. But if there is any requirements of minor strategic changes, UPSC MEDICO is always there to help you out. If there is a major change that should be happen, we come out and we'll give you those resources. For example, we are planning to give you some MCQ based practice also for all the course takers, so that you won't be ignoring the MCQ part. If it becomes mandatory, then we have a hawk eye on the developments. We are looking at it very keenly. Once the gazette is released, once we know the exact pattern, we will change the structure of the course and strategy according to that. For now, as of today, just stick to the basics, stick to the old pattern, stick to the strategy which worked for many of the people, because change is for everyone. You don't have to worry about a change which is going to cost everyone. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. So this is how you have to tackle next along with the UPSC preparation. I think this will answer, like this will finish all of the major questions. I have 5 more questions which have come up in the chat section. Manoj, how can you tell how much time should be given to medical science optional? Not only medical science optional, it's a basic maths. For example, the weightage 500 marks in the total exam of 2000 plus or 2050, okay, it amounts to 30%. Okay, 30%, 30 to 35%. So 30% of your preparation time should go to optional. If you're taking 300 days, nearly 100 days should be your optional preparation. If you're taking 2 years of time, 600 days, then it should be close to 200 days. Let me put it this way. If you're doing 10 hours per day, you should spend 3 hours per your optional. 30%, because the weightage is 500 marks. The weightage of the exam is 500 marks. Yes. Do we have any questions pending? Yes. Is the optional pattern going to, I didn't get you. Is there any announcement, Pavitra? I don't know whether they'll not change any optional pattern. Optional. See, what is the reason for giving you an option of optional? Just try to understand the UPSC board mindset or mentality. Okay. All these days we are lucky. At least medical science optional, they're asking UG level questions. If you go to Anthro, or if you go to sociology or political science, public administration and all, they're asking PG level questions. And even in the pro forma instructions itself, they're telling that you need to have PG level knowledge on optionals. Why? For example, let's assume 15,000 students are writing mains this time. 15,000 students. These are all the cream, meritorious base of the students. Okay, these are the merit base of the India, the whole India, all 1500 merit students are writing mains this time. How many of them are going to become civil servants? 900, hardly 1,000 people. So what is the fate of the remaining 14,000 plus students? What will they do? They are the meritorious students. If they spend 2 to 3 years of time only learning for general studies, they'll end up losing their graduation knowledge. You need a subject, you need a graduation subject at PG level so that you can come back, you can write your PG, you can work on your own graduation subject. If you are an engineer, you can go back and do your software engineer or a civil engineer. If you're a mathematician, you can apply for PhD in mathematics. If you're a doctor, you can come back and become at least a duty medical officer for time being, then you can crack your PG exam. So optional is a lifesaver for most of the students. You will not understand its importance now, because at the beginning of the preparation, we all think that we are going to master it, we are going to win it. But at the end of the day, out of 100 students who are attending this session, only 10 will be successful. The remaining 90, they have to go back to their basics and practice their medicine. This is bitter truth, but you need to understand its essence. Okay, so that's the reason optional will always be there with UPSC. They won't change the pattern. I don't think they're working in that lines. Yeah. To be on a safer side, can we opt for UPSC CMS or non-clinical PG and then simultaneously prepare for UPSC CSE? Yes, some of the students are doing it, but again, for any working professional coming back and cracking this UPSC is slowly and gradually becoming tougher, because you cannot maintain the same energy levels, or you cannot manage time so efficiently so that you can compete with people who are risking everything to crack it, right? You take any success story, nobody tells you that I'm working somewhere and I cracked it, or I'm already, they'll always tell that I risked it, I left my corporate job. Okay, so these are the success stories we tend to hear because they're spending more time. Spending more time is equal to scoring more. Okay, so this is the primary formula. But there are people who have done it. As I told you, you have Dr. Pragati, and there are so many doctors while practicing, they are into services and they're still cracking it. So it is possible for a working professional, but that work should be a non-clinical work. That work should be a work wherein you get more time to spend on improving your civil services skills. Okay, the exam skills. Yes. Yeah, you can stabilize yourself. Nothing at the cost of happiness. If you're unhappy about your economical situation, if you're unhappy about your family situation, if you are the only earning person, if you had to support your family, that should come first, then the nation. Family first, nation next. You're not going to fight a war for the country, right? You're going to do service. First, finish off your basic job as a son or a daughter, okay, as a husband or as a father or a mother, then come back and pursue your dreams. That should be your, because otherwise you will not have strength to fight this big war. Yeah, Dr. Purnashree is asking a question, sir. Can you post some schedule, like how much time should be roughly allot for each subject so that we'll complete the syllabus on time? Now, yes, this is interesting. When we started the courses, we were doing live sessions, and I have given you a schedule of anatomy, physiology, biochemistry. But out of 90 students, only 10 or 12 were able to follow that schedule. The problem here is, Dr. Purnashree, one size does not fit at all. Okay, I can't give you a schedule keeping in mind all the students, because medical science is that optional wherein you have 11 different subjects. You might be confident, or you might feel confident about starting with anatomy, but there is some Dr. X who wants to start with some clinical subject. So what I can do is, Dr. Purnashree, I have your, if you have my number, you can take it from the website. You can message me personally. I can give you a strategy which suits you. I have done it before. I have given many students their own fitting size strategy. Okay, I can't give you a general strategy of do this, do that, because I'm a medical person. I'm poor in anatomy. I might take more time in learning anatomy than learning dermatology. I have students from MS General Surgery who are more comfortable with anatomy and surgery, but they lack in some general understanding of psychiatry, the medicine part. So in that way, they need to spend more time on medicine. So I can't give you a ready-made schedule for that, but as a whole, in general, but I can help you personally. You can message me or call me on the number provided so that we can discuss it in detail. Yes, definitely. For medical science optional, this is question from Krishna, Dr. Krishna. For medical science optional, do you need to do the complete course of MBBS, whole textbooks or marrow books, or just the topic that comes in the UPSC syllabus? Now, for this itself, I have designed a focus guide. Okay, it should be syllabus specific. The syllabus of medical science optional is only 10% of what you do for your PG or for your MBBS. Only 10%. Just focus on that portion, master it, and also it's a game of answer writing. You need to draw images. You need to do histopathological images. You need to have an understanding of differentiation by drawing tables, flowcharts, algorithms. You have to answer as per weightage of the question, 5 marks, 10 marks, 15 marks, 20 marks. It's purely an answer writing game. And also syllabus specific, previous year question centric. 90% of the times the paper is repeated. Though they may not ask the same question, but the topic is same. So topic wise approach will be sufficient, Krishna, and it's only 10%. And you don't need any PG material or preparation for it. Okay. For working professionals, Sahana is asking a question, Dr. Sahana, for working professionals, 1 minute. Yeah, for working professionals, how to spend time on optional. For working professional, in the sense, if you are in medical practice, for example, if you're a duty medical officer, if you're working in a general ward, or if you're working in an emergency, or if you're working in medicine ward, or if you're working in a surgical specialty, try to master that particular subject as per the syllabus. Okay. And optional timing, even if you're a working professional or a non-working professional, 30% of your time, for example, if you're free, if you're spending 10 hours per day for preparation, it won't be possible if you are a working professional. So in that case, in that scenario, if you're spending 5 hours per day on preparation, spend 2 hours on optional, 3 hours on general studies. So cut your time, but percentage remains same. 30% of your preparation time should go to your optional. If it is 1 year, 2 year, or 3 months, 4 months, it doesn't matter, because you have to learn the art of balance. There is no point of becoming a very good doctor but not an administrator. If you spend so much of time on optional, if you master your medical science, you will become a doctor for sure, but you won't become an administrator. What is the meaning of an administration or services? In the limited resources you have, you should be able to master it and conquer it. For example, government will give you limited budget. Based on that, you have to do policy making and work for the welfare of the country and bring the best results possible. If you have limited time, if you have limited content, even with that, how will you be able to produce the best results? So that is the crux or essence of the game of UPSC. If you can understand that, you will become the best administrator. So that can't be taught in a session or a strategy session. That only comes with practice and experience. Okay. And long thought process. Think about it. Try to find a way, smarter way to finish off the syllabus in stipulated time or less than usual time, and still you can work and make bread for the family or for yourself. Okay, that's how you have to work. Rishikesh is asking a question. Sir, may I know what are you providing for medical science optional? We have courses, we have video course, we have notes, we have test series. You can either get it in a combo course form for the whole 24 months, or you can either only go for video course, which includes recorded videos of all the subjects in a syllabus specific previous year question centric fashion along with the notes, or you can only go for test series, which includes 8 subject wise tests, grand tests, model answers, topper copies, all India ranker copies, video discussion of the test in Q&A format. So everything in a comprehensive way, which is essential for medical science optional, is already available with UPSC MEDICO. It is a one-click go for medical science optional. You will get all the resources which are important. Yes. Manoj Kumar Saini, is your optional courses enough for optional, or we have to read medical books? Manoj, again, this is a hypothetical question. Nothing is enough in UPSC, but I could proudly say UPSC MEDICO notes has helped more than 50 toppers in last 6 years. Okay, they're very happy and they have given their testimonials. And based on that, I could proudly say this is one-stop solution and a single resource. If you can go through, for example, 11 doctors, we worked for 3+ years to prepare this content. On top of that, you don't need to make any value additions. Whatever is given is done and dusted. One common mistake aspirants do is they thrive for sense of completion. And it is a known fact that you will be never ready for this exam. Your preparation will be never complete. You're never confident about this exam. You will never be able to revise everything before the exam. Mark my words. Even if you are all India ranker 1, they'll say the same thing. But what works is putting up boundaries. For example, today I'll take a resolution that whatever notes I get from UPSC MEDICO, whatever videos I get, I'll just watch them. I'll make sure that I'll be perfect in this. I will manifest the same thing in the exam. If you can do that, it is possible. It is humanly possible. On top of that, if you keep on adding value additions, if you keep on referring new standard textbooks and all, then it kills your time. You will be taking more time than usual. You lose the balance. You might score good in medical science optional, but you end up not even clearing CSAT. Why I'm saying this? I have toppers who are scoring 350+ in medical science optional in grand test. They're not even clearing CSAT. You need to understand the demand of the exam. You can't spend so much of time on optional and become a good doctor and end up becoming not even an administrator. So don't do that mistake. Whatever is given, it's more than enough. It's more than enough. Yes. It's not complete. It's more than enough. And it is okay to have more than enough knowledge for this exam. Yeah. Thank you, Rishikesh. Thank you so much. I'm here to guide you. We'll be coming up with more and more strategy sessions. Yeah. How to score 300 plus? Lori, yes, this is very important. You will score 300 plus if you follow all the things which I just told you. I'll summarize them. Yes, this is good way of ending up our session. Thank you, Dr. Lori, for asking this question. See, first and foremost, clear off optional dilemma. The war has already started. This is not the time to think about optional, choosing altogether a different optional, learning basics about a new optional. You're a doctor, you're a medical person. The board has given you a chance to choose your graduation subject as your optional. Love it, embrace it, grace it, take it to your heart, start learning it, revising it, practice it, give respect to it, right? We usually ignore our own some of the times, thinking that optional kaam pe aa jayega. Even if you ignore it, even if you don't practice it, you will get good marks. Most of the students does that. Don't do that. Okay. Give its due respect, then you'll get that. Don't try to bring glory to medical science optional. I have seen students, मुझे अभी 400 score करना है, 350, 300. Be optimistic with optional. Even the topper of the topper will only score 300 or 315. I'm not talking about medical science. Any optional, be it be anthropology, the topper will score 315. 2500 mein, one or two will only 3 scored 300 plus in anthropology. Now you don't make it a trending optional. If someone else, like from next year, if medical science may, if 10 people get 300 also, don't make it a trending optional. I'm only telling you that every year the trending optional will change. You cannot jump into a different subject altogether and start getting stressed up about your optional. UPSC is not about learning optional. UPSC is 70% general studies game. You have to win your war there. Optional will give you an edge. Optional will help you in deciding your rank, but it's not everything. It's not crucial. It's not a platform or a base. Focus more on general studies. Stick to the basic optional. So that is the first way of scoring good in medical. Stick to it. Start believing in it. Start working on it. That's how you score good in medical science optional. Second thing is, your plan A should be your UPSC medical science optional, not PG. If your PG is your plan A, you will end up scoring less in UPSC medical science optional. So make UPSC medical science optional as your plan A. Get rid of optional dilemma. Okay, don't think too much about next, okay, which is far. You only have today in your hand. You can't decide your future, and you can't make a policy for the next exam, right? If something is not in your hands, don't think about it too much. This is one way of scoring good. And also don't think that PG preparation will help you score good in UPSC preparation. Both are different ball games. I'm not telling that it is not at all useful. I'm only telling that it is least useful, because the pattern is different. You can't ride an ambassador car in a Ferrari race, or you can't ride a Ferrari in a village. You have to ride ambassador in a village. So that's how you have to manage based on the track, based on the demand of the exam. Your preparation should be. When you have a ready-made resources available like UPSC MEDICO, don't spend too much of time in segregating content, preparing your own, making bundles of books, and then thinking that I need more value or content enrichment. There are 11 doctors who work for 3+ years to prepare this content. It's readily available. If you do not have any financial constraint, if you do not have 4 or 5 years ahead, it's better to go and choose the best resource. If you can do that, you will definitely score good. And how to score well in answer writing, I have recorded a detailed 2-hour video discussion in the test series column. It's available in the test series. If you're a part of it, you can access it. From which pen to use, what color to use, how to draw a diagram, what tables to draw, how to work on flowcharts, how to work on clinicalities, clinical questions, everything I have recorded there. It's purely test series based one with live examples of the toppers. I have taken it. If you can just go through it, you will understand the way to score very well in medical science optional. And finally, trust, belief. Okay, start trusting your optional, start believing in yourself. Okay, revise more, follow the strategy which I just told you for 24-25. These are the best ways that you score 300 plus in optional. And very importantly, scoring 300 plus is not equal to scoring top rank. You take Dr. Anshupriya with 265, she got rank 16. It's not always about optional. Try to understand the essence. 1 year, one optional might throw a temper tantrum or a surprise on us. 1 year, one optional will be a trending optional. These will change. But your concept, your subject, your belief, and your basic understanding and law of average, you have to balance everything. You have to give your essay in a best fashion. You should answer your economics paper. You should answer well your ethics paper. You should also know science and technology. First, to do all these things, you should clear your CSAT. There are lot many steps in UPSC preparation. Don't put whole burden on optional itself. Optional is the last thing. Optional is not the first thing. NCRT is the first thing. Optional is the last thing. Then comes the interview phase. So all this process, all this experience will make you ready for the interview. During your interview also, being a doctor, you will be asked 20 to 30% questions on medical related. Though they are not core concepts, definitely they are related to you being a doctor or any health problem in the community. So this will continue. So this is how you have to plan your preparation. Strategies must. Don't thrive for sense of completion. Believe in yourself. Follow the law of average. If there is a resource, trust it, embrace it. Don't get into the optional dilemma. And don't feel annoyed about optional dilemma. Please, every other doctor will have this. Not only doctor, any UPSC aspirant will be troubled by an optional dilemma, and they change every year because this is a long process. Stick to it. Better to deal with the devil, you know. And UPSC MEDICO with all the courses is available here to help you out in planning it in a right way. As a personalized mentor, I'll help you in designing your own strategies. You can find my details here in the slide, and also you can write to me on the email provided in the website. Okay, I'm always there to guide you. As I told you 4 years back in my first workshop, I'm here to stay, because when I started this, many of the doctors, they don't have good guidance for UPSC medical science option. But now I'm here for the last 4 years. I promised you that I'm here to stay. I'll stay here forever. And one more important thing is, now we have backup ranks. Check my website. Okay, we have toppers with us from medical science optional who are in the process of guiding us further in curriculum designing, in strategy designing. They are helping me out. So we have a team now. Okay, so I'm always here to guide you. All the best for your future. At the end of the day, you're always a doctor, be it you're an administrator or not. So stick to medical science, master it with UPSC MEDICO. Signing off.